Listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Lead Up for Women, Speak Up to Lead Up. We are on episode number 127, and today we are going to be talking all about working in your brilliance and not in your books. Well, I guess you want to ask yourself, what does that mean? Well, you're going to have to wait around until we introduce our guest, Ashley Schmitz, to learn a little bit more. But for now, I want to encourage all of you to go out to leadupforwomen.com. Download the latest issue of our magazine that has Patty Farmer on the front. Of course, all of our members have written some very inspiring, motivating, and educational articles in the magazine, as well as attending some of our events. Some of you may not know or remember, but every single Tuesday, we have a Teaching Tuesday masterclass that our members come forward and teach. So last week, we learned all about business insurance, auto insurance, home insurance. And you may think to yourself, oh, this is something that I already know about. Do you? Do you have business insurance? We talk about sleep. We talk about, your taxes. We talk about everything you could possibly think of. Next week, I think we're talking about how to speak from stage so that people want to connect with you later. How to publish a book. So everything you can think of that you do in your business, we have a topic on it or in your personal life every single week. So I invite you over to leadupforwomen.com to check that out and see how you can put more tools in your toolbox and learn a little bit more and get some free education from Lead Up for Women. And of course, we always do our monthly lunch and learns, and we invite you to join us there. The link is below. And you can come as a free guest. We also invite you to entertain the chapters, go to our chapter directors. Those are located at leadupforwomen.com/events, and attend those because those are also monthly. So you have the opportunity right now to attend several different events throughout the month with Lead Up for Women. All right, let's go ahead and get to our first guest, Ashley Schmitz. She's the owner of Each Penny Bookkeeping, very good friend of mine. She was in the United States Army and is a veteran. She's a married mother of 4. This girl runs an incredible business with tons of kids and dogs running around, let me tell you. She helps entrepreneurs who are frustrated, struggling, and behind in their bookkeeping to work in their brilliance and not in their books. So that you can stop paying your employees taxes, bills, and late fees now. So what does that mean exactly, Ashley, when you say stop paying? Why would we want to stop paying those things?
Well, you're not going to be stopping the payments on them, but you're going to be delegating that work to somebody who wants to take that over, who is passionate about that, and wants to make sure that those things are done on time for you. So things that I do for clients are, I make sure their payroll gets run. I make sure that the taxes are getting paid to the IRS and to their state entities and that their employees are paid on time. And do you have bills to vendors? That gets taken care of. Are you compliant in your books? Yes, you are, because you're working with me. And all of the things, can you file your 1099s in January? When you work with me, you can. You don't have to wait. I love helping people that struggle with caring and wanting their finances. Everybody wants to know what's going on in their business. Nobody wants to take the time because it's frustrating. It's very frustrating to sit there and to do the data entry, to do the forecasting, the analytics, the budgeting, all of the things that people don't like when it comes to their finance. I'm a total geek about. So that's what it means to stop doing all of that and hand it over to somebody who loves doing it for you.
So let's just get down to the nitty gritty on this, because I was that person who was frustrated. But I want to go back to the beginning of why did you decide to get into this business of bookkeeping? What was your drive for that? I mean, if you're coming out of the Army and you're a veteran, the last thing I would think is, oh, she's going to become a bookkeeper. So, I could see you maybe, becoming a mechanic or, a nurse or maybe some other things that, you would do in the Army or some of the positions or jobs that were available. What really drove you? And because I know who you are and I know how much numbers light you up, but what was it about the numbers that lit you up? When did it start for you? When did you know you wanted to do something like this?
For me, it happened. So in the military, I mean, the military, the government, it's a job, it's a business. It should be ran as such, and it is most of the time. And so in that, there are all these jobs that you're exposed to, all of this stuff. And so when I got out of the military, I was exposed my whole life into the medical field. And I had it drilled into my head, you're going to be a nurse, you're going to go to nursing school, you're going to help people that way. And I went to take my my nursing, it's a TEAS exam in Illinois, and to get into nursing school. And I took that test 3 times, and I'm a good test taker, for the record. And I failed that nursing test by 0.7 or less every time. And so after the 3rd try, I'm like, what else am I supposed to be doing, God? And so the college that I was at, I was looking through all of their coursework, and accounting just stood out to me. I do my budget. I'm really diligent about, saving money and being very financially responsible. And so I was like, I could go into accounting. And at the time I had 2 children. So I'm like, okay, stability, something that's always going to be there. I especially like nursing, that was one of like its really good appeals, is that it was stable, that you would always have a job no matter where you went. I feel like accounting is very similar to the very black and white of my personality, of the stability and always going to be there. So I was like, okay, this sounds really wonderful. So I went to school and I got my accounting degree. But, after all of that, now I'm pregnant with my 3rd child. And Eric and I are looking at daycare costs, and we're like, yeah, that doesn't really fit into our budget. We might as well cut off our leg and hand it to the daycare facility to pay for our kids. So in that moment, we were talking about me being a stay-at-home mom, and I love staying home with my children. I love them dearly, but there needed to be something else. Like, I cannot just be the person that's okay with mopping my floor 3 times that day. It's not my personality. I need to be doing something more. And my kids were growing, and 2 of them were in school at the time. And so then I had a baby, and I had been talking with my husband and praying with him about what's next for me. He had a job that he loved doing, and he was providing for a family, and I was providing in a separate sense. But I always knew that I needed to be financially secure for myself. I need to feel that security. When I was very young, my parents kind of went AWOL, and I was left to my own. At like 12, I started being very independent. So not being financially independent was scary. And so my husband and I were talking about it. He was actually the person that found this bookkeeping course that teaches you how to start a business. And I'm like, all right, I'm in. Let's start a business. I love finances. I have an accounting degree. Why not? And so after my daughter was born and we bought a house and I started a business, I fell in love with small business owners and how much of a backbone they are to this economy, and just how overshadowed they are by all of the big corporations in name recognition. Mom and pop stores do everything. They wear every hat. And I just wanted to be somebody that could help offload some of the stress off their shoulders. So that's where it all came from. And my husband and I were sitting there. I wanted a name for my business that meant more than just Ashley's business. I wanted it to be something that meant something. So when we were brainstorming, Each Penny Bookkeeping came alive, because every penny in every small business, it matters. And especially when you are a small business and you are putting kids through, sports and school, and you're paying your mortgage, it's not going into some big CEO's pocket for their Bermuda, Bahama vacation. It's going to pay for little Johnny's new skates for hockey. And so to me, each penny really matters. And I wanted a name that matters. And so that's where Each Penny Bookkeeping came from.
I love that, because, I was taught from not a younger age, but probably in my younger years, when I got a hold of Dave Ramsey's stuff, he talks about every dollar having a label, having a place. And I feel like that is the same with a penny, right?
Right.
Every dollar, every cent that is in your business needs to have a place to go. So you
Yeah.
either have it put away for taxes, you either have it put away for expenses, you either have it as a profit, or it's got a label. And
Yeah.
so it's a very clearly defined title of your business, because it shows the person that would be working with you that you care about every penny, right?
Yeah.
And each penny matters. And so for those listeners that are joining us today and listening to us, um, just as a reminder, I work with Ashley, and I remember, I'll share this story. When I hired her and I met her, I was like, I really need a bookkeeper. And I'll tell you why I needed it. It wasn't that I was frustrated with my finances. It was that I was frustrated around tax time of having to sit for weeks and weeks on end and be entering things into spreadsheets because I wasn't keeping good account on those businesses. And then after that first year, I started just adding things into an Excel spreadsheet. And I remember listening to Ashley's first boot camp, and she said, are you using an Excel spreadsheet? And I was so proud. I was like, yep, I am. I got it all together. And she was like, that is the worst thing you could ever be using. The IRS does not take spreadsheets. And I was like deflated. And I thought, oh crap, here I am thinking I'm organized because that's how I do my own budgeting. In my own house, I have an Excel spreadsheet that I've used for, 15, 20 years. That's
I
got,
do too for my personal
yeah,
budgeting.
it has formulas in it. I mean, it's perfect for what I need. So I figured that was what I needed to do because I don't know how to work QuickBooks. This was, again, as a business owner, you have to quickly just know how to do everything, right? You do. As a business owner, you need to know how to market, how to show up on video, how to do social media, how to run your books, and if you're not a finance person, you have no idea how to run your books. And budgeting for your personal business is way different than budgeting for your business. Let me just tell you that right now. Payroll and taxes and all the other fees that you have coming out, it's just different. And so here I was all proud that I was using an Excel spreadsheet and quickly got deflated. Her boot camp was awesome. I learned so much that I knew I couldn't do it. I learned so much that I was like, I can't do all this on top of the 85 hats I'm wearing. And that
Right.
was hiring a VA and hiring Ashley were the first two people that I hired to help me out in my business because I knew I just couldn't do all that on my own. And it was such a huge investment. At first I was like, not a huge investment. I don't mean a huge, that's not what I meant to say. For me, it was such a smart investment because a lot of people see the amount of money that you pay for a service. So they're like, okay, how much is it going to cost me to hire this person? What they don't see is the value in return that they get from hiring that person. And I look at how many hours I save in a month having to do that, how many hours in a year, and then look at what my time is worth and what I can be doing in that time to be selling.
Right.
I think that's an important factor, wouldn't you say, Ashley?
Oh, absolutely. I love telling people that I find my fees in your books because when I'm looking through your books and I'm figuring out why are you still paying for this subscription that costs you $100 a year that you're not even using? Let's get rid of that. When I do a deep dive through everybody's finances, we come up with a strategic plan on how the money you're already spending, we're just going to divert it into spending it in a wiser spot. Haha, me. And we're then going to figure out how we're going to make you more money. So it's already money that you're spending. Let's spend it better. And now you have somebody in your back pocket that loves looking over your income statement and saying, wow, you're making this much money. You're spending this much money here. What's your ROI on that? Can we divert that into another place where you are making money so that we're increasing your cash flow? When you have somebody that loves the finances and geeks out over it and is like, let's make you more money, because I'm passionate about my clients. Like, I love them and it's on my website and I love saying it, but I love them like family, and I love my family and I don't treat them poorly. So it's a great thing to be loved like family, because I sat here with a current client just recently, and she is trying to get financing for a farm. And for all that type of financing, there are certain parameters that needed to be done in order for her to get that type of special funding. And it's not just walking to a bank and getting a conventional loan. And there needed to be forecasting. There needed to be every income stream that she has. How is that projected for the next 7 years? And with a moderate increase versus a more aggressive increase, and then figuring all that out. And I sat there and I figured all of that out and made a beautiful presentation for her to give her bank, so that now she can go buy the farm of her dreams and grow exponentially. But those are things that I like to do. I call myself a bookkeeper because yes, I do your books, but I try and go beyond what your expectations are when it comes to making sure that you are not only taken care of, but you feel secure in what's going on with you financially.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you if you could share a story of a win for one of your clients, and you went right into it. So I don't think I'm going to ask you that question anymore.
I've got plenty of stories. I love people paying off their taxes. I love people getting off of their Excel spreadsheets. I love people being able to see that they're making so much money and they've been spending, you're supposed to spend so much of the percentage of your gross revenue into your marketing. And I love seeing where people are spending their marketing money and being like, okay, let's have that real conversation about you're spending it in X, Y, Z, but Z is not really working for you. Let's take that Z money and put it in X and Y and let's actually grow with it. I've got plenty of stories of people that I've helped to grow their business and just really let that be off their plate and know that it's taken care of. And then they come into the tax year and they're like, oh my gosh, I can get my taxes done by March and not September. Wow, what am I going to do with that extra time and that less worry throughout the next year? Because I'm not worried about getting my books done. I'm not worried about making sure my contractors have their 1099s. Like, let's worry on growth. Let's not worry about past.
Yeah, I think that's important too. And, you hit on something, and I wanted to ask you a question. Do you find that some women or men, because I know you work with both people, I would say entrepreneurs that you work with, that they're embarrassed and don't want to work with a bookkeeper because the two things that people never want to talk about is money and sex, right?
Always.
Right. So money is the biggest thing. They don't want to talk about how much they actually make, how much they're actually spending, and they get very weirded out by that. Do you find that people don't want to hire you for that purpose? Because then it's almost like they're exposing their underwear drawer or something, I guess would be.
I call myself Dr. Phil because every person, and I swear, every client that has first started working with me has that same conversation of, I feel so exposed. I feel so vulnerable because you're getting into my finances. And I tell every single one of them, you're in the exact same boat as every entrepreneur. Every entrepreneur, when they don't know what's going on in their finances and they're an ostrich with their head in the sand, and they're just like, well, money's there, so I must be making money. When you finally take your head out of the sand and you then can have your come to Jesus moment, you have your Dr. Phil therapy session with Ashley. But once you get through that, you don't have to go through it again. Like, you come to the terms with it and then you can move on. And just the amount of just lifting stress off of people's shoulders. I swear I see, like, just they sit up strong, like taller, they sound more confident because they really then know what's going on in their business. And that in itself is so empowering to be able to say, this is how much money I made this month. where's my next goal? Like, I didn't realize I could hit this. Let's hit higher. And just making those plans with people, it's just amazing to see the stress come off of them from that.
Yeah.
I love
So I'm glad that you said that because I talk about this a lot in the community lead up for women, which is the very first stage is awareness. And if you are hiding your head in the sand and you do not want to look at or be aware of how much money you're making because you're afraid, you're never going to be able to change something you're not aware of. So
Right.
when you become aware of it, that's step number one. Step number two is that you're choosing to then make the changes. So if you're choosing to have better control over your finances, it doesn't mean you have to hire a bookkeeper right away. But the number one thing out of today, I would say, is be aware of what your finances are, know what your revenue is, know what your expenses are, know the areas of what you can write off on taxes, get yourself educated so that you're maximizing being an entrepreneur. There are so many tax benefits to being an entrepreneur. So have those conversations with someone like either Ashley or whoever. You need to understand those pieces. The next part of that, even Hey Taxi, one of the other communities that we partner with, would be a great community for them to get those questions answered. The next thing would be choose to make the change, like choose to increase your revenue, choose to lower your expenses, choose to put the money in the areas that are going to give you the largest return of investments. I was just on the phone with a client this morning for like an SOS call for 10 minutes to say, I was thinking about sponsoring this interview. It cost me $1,250. Do you think I should do it or not? These are the details, right? In the end, it came down to not a smart decision,
Right.
but she might not have made that choice if we didn't talk it through. So talk things through with other people and brainstorm to get ideas. The last thing is you have to commit to the change. And when
Yep.
you commit to the change, that commitment for me came through with hiring Ashley. It came through with hiring a bookkeeper. It comes through with having a CPA. You know, Ashley's helped me with employee payments and tax payments and all the things I get. I get letters in the mail all the time from the Arizona Department of Revenue or the IRS. I have no idea what they are. I'm taking pictures and sending them to her, sending them to my CPA. I'm sending them to people. I don't understand that. There are
Yep.
parts that I don't understand, and that's why we hire trusted professionals. And Ashley's a trusted professional. So you have to first be aware. So if you're sitting here squirming a little bit, like, do I really know what my finances are in my business? Do I know how much money I'm making? Do I have a real business? I hear that a lot.
Mhm.
Yes. If you are running a business, then you have a real business and you have the opportunity to write off a lot of things on taxes. You have the opportunity to write off even a membership at Lead Up for Women. Women are shocked when I tell them they can write off that membership. That is education. That is so much that you get as far as in Lead Up for Women that you can write that off every year as an expense for
Yeah.
your business, you know? So what else did we miss, Ashley? Talk to me a little bit about what do you see next for each penny bookkeeping? What is your plan?
Right now, after like a large audit of because I mean, I'm accountable to myself also. Like, I make sure that my business is running smoothly, like my finances are in order, because I would be a hypocrite if my finances weren't in top-notch shape, but I'm taking care of other people. So I recently did an audit of my finances, an audit of my time, and I'm just making sure that I'm in the right projected growth. So right now, it's just the same of taking on clients, making sure that I'm delivering a really great, valuable service. And soon, because of the growth I've seen in my business, my husband has the option to quit his job. It's not a requirement, but it is the option, because I've been able to take over our family finances and to make sure that everything's squared away there. So right now, it's just a lot of growth in my company. I would really love to one day be able to employ other women. I was a single mom. I was a teen mom. So being able to employ young women, teach them a skill, show them their worth, and be able to love into them is really what's on the horizon for me. I'd love to be speaking to people and just showing them. It's very statistical when you're a teen parent that you that you're not going to amount to anything. At least it was drilled into my head. You're never going to amount to anything. You're never going to do anything good in the world. You're always just you're going to be a welfare baby. You're going to be nothing. Like, those were the things that were said to me. And I really want to be somebody for young teen moms that are just like, no, that doesn't have to be your path. You can be a great mom. You can be a great wife, and you can be somebody that is contributing into society. So that's what's going to be on the path for me. I would love to one day like write a book and, do all of these things. But right now it's just growth and loving on my clients, growth and loving on them, growing good humans, having a good life, and, just being somebody that's there for everybody.
I think people that don't know you, they don't realize how well-rounded you are. You're a great wife, you're a great mother, your kid, you always have the time for your children, you always have the time for your clients. And I commend you on your growth, and what a wonderful path for you to pay it forward to hire other females that do have children at home and struggle to go to a job and pay for daycare the same way that you were struggling, and now giving them the opportunity moving forward for them to be able to work for you, learn how to become a bookkeeper, for them to then start their own businesses and have some business write-offs. And that's just amazing that you could pay that forward and give other advantages to now women that are struggling to be able to go to work and can do that from home. So thanks for doing that, Ash. That's really great.
I love the thought of being at home and not having to worry about any of the restrictions with everything that's going on in the United States right now. And all these people that are losing their jobs, I just feel for all of these people that are being put in a rock and a hard place. And it's like, well, when you work from home, you make your own schedule, you make your own rules, and you will always be financially secure. And I would love that for as many women as I can touch, to make sure that they're financially secure, because that is probably the worst feeling in the world, of not knowing how to be secure financially for yourself. And I would love to be able to take that away from them.
Yes. So if you're a female or a male right now listening, because I know we have male listeners too, and you are like, I don't have a bookkeeper. I do use an Excel spreadsheet. I'm not using QuickBooks. I have no idea what's going on in my finances and my business. Ashley is a good first step for you to at least talk to her to find out if her services are what you need. Or maybe she could just do a one-time cleanup for you. That's also, I know, something that she offers. Or if you're a female out there that is thinking about, I would love to be able to work from home, or I would love to be able to start up my own business. That is something that both Ashley and I can definitely have conversations with you on how you can do that. I work with some other women that have opportunities in the VA services for women to work from home. Ashley's going to be expanding her business in 2022 to give opportunities for other bookkeepers to work with her to learn how to be a bookkeeper. So lots of good stuff coming in 2022. So Ashley, tell us, how can we get in contact with you for those that are listening today? And then just remember, everyone, it will be at your fingertips there in the show notes. So you'll be able to click on the information that Ashley's sharing with you.
Yeah, so everybody can reach me. I'll have my cell down there, my email, ashley@eachpennybookkeeping.com. You can go on the website at eachpennybookkeeping.com. And I'm actually doing a boot camp. So if anybody is a business owner and they're wanting to know, how am I compliant in my finances? What are the things that I need to be doing as a small business owner, and making sure that you know what's going on in your finances? On October 14th, I'm actually doing a free 5-hour business bookkeeping boot camp for all the listeners here. And so if that link will also be down there. So if that's something that you're interested in, show up, learn the compliance, learn how to be financially responsible in your business. And those are the many ways that you can reach me. Social media, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram, all those fun things. So I am all over the place for you to
And
find.
so you can contact her on LinkedIn at Ashley Schmitz. You can do Instagram at Each Penny, Facebook at Each Penny Bookkeeping. We'll have all those links for you below. But Ashley, thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you so much for, I guess I would say, for trusting yourself, because sometimes we push so much on what we think we want to do or are supposed to do. And then God has a different plan. And you thought you were supposed to be a nurse, and God was like, that's not really the path I had for you. I have a bigger vision and I need you to go down this other road. And you trusted that. So that's awesome.
Always trust your gut. That's how I met my husband. So you got to trust your gut.
That's
You got
so
to trust
awesome.
what you need to do. And it's just, great things happen when you trust it.
And those for you that are listening today, you're the only you that's ever been. You're the only you that will ever be. So how you pioneer your future is really up to you. You trust your gut, trust the vision, trust the path that God has paved for you, because this is the time for women leaders to emerge, to be providing opportunities to their families, just like Ashley has. Imagine creating a job, creating jobs for others, and creating a business that you could cover all your finances, and then your husband had options if he wanted, or maybe he wanted to start a business, but that could never be a possibility because he was responsible for the finances of the home. So maybe just, push yourself for a little bit more than paying for a vacation or kids' activities, which I hear women say a lot. Maybe push for paying all the bills in the house, and giving your husband the opportunity for you guys to work together in a business, or for him to start his own business. What would your life look like? Imagine if you both had the freedoms of being entrepreneurs to do what it is that you want to do when you want to do it, and build as much money of a legacy for your family that you want to build. In corporate America, we can't do that because we're kind of kept at, how much you get paid is how much you're worth. Well, when you're an entrepreneur, it doesn't work that way. So
No, it
welcome to the playground of millionaires.
doesn't. Right? It's a fun playground to be on. I love it.
It is. All right, Ashley, thank you so much for being with us today. Listeners, thank you so much for being with us. And we hope you will join us for our next episode. Until then, be you and be strong. Bye-bye for now. Bye, Facebook.